noches, Master. Gracias por estar en el canal, bienvenido. No, es un gusto nuevamente, siempre, siempre. Es un honor. Yo quiero preguntarle acerca sobre esta serie que la verdad está muy increíble, American Primeval. Entonces, ¿cómo fue la experiencia en este tema del departamento? Porque fue maravilloso todo.
As always, welcome to the channel. And as you may know, yes, we are asking you about American Primeval. I was working, yeah, man, whatever you want to say. We won't say anything. Go ahead.
Cool. Well, thanks for having me. I always like being here. It's always a pleasure to see you. Yeah, it's been busy. I mean, I think last time we talked, I was shooting American Primeval, filming American Primeval with Peter Berg and all that, and now it's out on Netflix, and people love it, and it's filled with tons of cool things, and yeah, it's just one thing after another, always staying busy and working, which is always very good.
And I love the working relationship with Peter. I mean, you worked with Peter in many actions. Please, in fact, I want to ask, you can correct me if I'm wrong. You worked on Mike 22, that was recorded here in Colombia.
Oh yeah, I was in Colombia with Peter. So I've done 9 projects with Peter Berg, and he's one of my favorite directors to work with. And we came to Colombia. We were to do, and we were in Bogota to do a movie with Mark Wahlberg called Mile 22. And so we were there for 6 weeks filming, and it was great. We started off in Atlanta, started shooting in Atlanta, and then we moved to go do 6 weeks of shooting in Bogota. So, and I ended up hiring a bunch of people that were from Bogota to be on my crew. They were great, and we had a good time. It was really fun. I loved all the food.
What do you take? Arepa, the beer,
It was all good. I mean, we would go out all the time, and our first night, a couple of the local makeup artists took us out to a really nice restaurant, and I mean, yeah, the food was dynamite. I'm all about the food. So yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. But it was a great country. We had a great time. Oh, best coffee in the world is in Colombia. The best. So I walked in, my friend Johnny Villanueva and I, who do the movies together, we walked in and I'm like, I got to get a cup of coffee. I'm dying here. So we went to the hotel and they made us a coffee, and I watched, and how they made it and the time it took and the love it took. Yeah. 4 minutes and stir. And so I drank it and I'm like, I could use another one. And I went and got another one. I was high as a kite the rest of the day. It was like, so every morning I would crazy. And every morning I would get up and go get 2 cups of coffee. I was with Lauren Cohan from Walking Dead because she was in the movie. And so Lauren and I would always have breakfast together, and we would get coffee, and we became addicted to the coffee. So when I came back to the United States, I brought a bunch of beans back with me and grinded them and tried to make the coffee as good. I never could do it as well, but the coffee in Colombia was the best coffee I've ever had.
And before I translate, I'm drinking Ponimalta. This is our fruit beer. Second, I remember when that movie came out, so sad. I wasn't living here in Cúcuta. I was living in San Gil. San Gil is like 6 hours or 8 hours by bus to Bogota. But all my friends and all the people from Colombia, that movie was a big deal because Santos, the former president, he was like, yeah, I need that Colombia became a good place to shoot in. So they shoot Mike 22, they shoot Give Me a Man, a lot of movies. Yeah, it's crazy because I know the movie is set on Thailand, but it's in Bogota. So everybody, I came to the street. So I needed to ask you that, man. So thank you. And I'm so sad because I was living in a coffee land. Santander is a place after the Eje Cafetero, is the second place with the best coffee in Colombia. But I feel bad because I never got a land to become a coffee. I needed to become a coffee, harvester. Yeah, man. That the thing that you drum is distilled coffee. It's from a grain called special grain, and man, yeah, all day.
Oh yeah, all day. Yeah, I couldn't get enough. It was great. It was great. But yeah, no, I had a great time. I had a really good time in Bogota. It was really nice. It was fun. We had a nice hotel. It was a good shoot. It was great. It was fun. I liked it. I would do it again.
Hopefully with the two of us. John,
yes.
tenía que agarrarlo. Me tengo que pedir disculpas. Seré breve, John. Lo que pasa es que, tú sabes, American Primeval, cuando él habló con nosotros, estaban filmando, y tú sabes cómo está pegado ese serie, increíble, Peter Berger. Tú sabes que él ha hecho 9 proyectos con Peter Berger, y John tenía que preguntarle, sí, estuvo en Milla 22, sí, estuvo en Bogotá, sí, probó el café, y tú sabes que ahí estaba incluso gente de The Walking Dead, o sea que increíble. Tenía que preguntar, y el equipo que usaron en Mile 22 es colombiano. Qué pena la demora, pero es que ese es un datazo para el canal. Te la dejo ahí con ese.
Oh, muy bien. Antes quiero preguntarle acerca sobre cómo es la experiencia con The Rogers, ¿no? Porque estuvo en el canal, estuvieron en Shorts y estuvieron en este tema, si no estoy mal, en Splice. Y bueno, preguntarle acerca sobre qué opinas acerca del remake que le hicieron a Friday Night, pero la de Farrell.
Of course. Yeah, I was asking because I'm an amazing person, by the way. Bill Rogers was here. You worked with him. So tell us how was working with him in Splice, and what do you think about the remake of Friday Night? You know that you got the original one, the Tom Holland. But we want to know your opinion about the remake.
So you want to know about Splice, and you said Fright Night? Splice was great. I loved working on Splice. It's weird. I wasn't brought onto the movie until 2 weeks before it filmed. There was another person who was doing all the effect stuff, and I had known the producers from another show, and I was in Chicago doing a movie called Eagle Eye with DJ Caruso was directing it, and Shia LaBeouf was starred in it. And anyhow, they called me and they said, listen, we're doing this film in Toronto, and we'd love you to come take a look at what we're doing because we're not sure if it's going the right way. And I said, well, I have a day off. I'm in Chicago, so I can just fly straight up to Toronto for just the day. Then I have to come back because I got to be on set the next day. So I went up to see them and I looked at everything. And really, I was very alarmed because nothing was done. And they had spent all this time just talking about things and like textures and it does this. And I said, guys, you're not ready to start shooting in 2 weeks. I said, you have nothing to shoot. And they're like, oh no, but the guy promised us that we'd have it. I said, there's no way this is going to happen. I said, you guys are in big, big trouble. And I said, if I may suggest, I would let that person go and I would hire somebody else like immediately. And they said, well, are you available? And I said, well, I'm on another show, but I'm almost done with it. We can start prepping it, but we have to be careful. If you're going to start shooting in 2 weeks, we can only be ready for like this character. So like, it was like one of the Fred and Gingers in the beginning of the movie that are like those, they look like like pieces of gum, chewed gum, those things. So I'm like, we can do one of those and it won't be mechanical. So it was right before Christmas break. So we were able to do it. I took over the show and we worked really hard to get it done. And, Guillermo del Toro was the producer on it. So he asked as well. He's like, Howard, can you please step in and help out? Because I think this is not going the way it should go. Anyhow, it turned out to be a great experience. I really loved it. I thought it turned out to be a great film. I need to watch it again. It's been a long time. I don't really watch the movies I work on a lot. It's rare. I'll see it like once or twice maybe. And then I'm like, okay, I'm good. Because I lived it. I'm on set, So, but no, I loved working on Splice, and I'm really proud of that movie too. And I think, Sarah Pauly, who stars in it along with Adrian Brody, was great. It was a great cast, and a guy named Vincenzo Natali directed it and wrote it, and he's a really good director. It was really good. And it was a good combination as well of what we did, practical makeup effects and visual effects. And a really talented visual effects artist, Bob Monroe. We worked hand in hand to make sure that all the creature stuff looked real and felt real, and the way it was lit and the textures and the really, really well done. Very well done.
Cuando lo llamaron para, o sea, él estaba haciendo una película que te gusta mucho, ¿no? Ojo de Águila, ¿sabes? Con Shia LaBeouf, ¿no? Y resulta que lo llamaron como que mira lo que está pasando en Splice. Pues John, ya en 2 semanas y nada, no habían logrado hacer nada. Pues fue Guillermo del Toro el que le dijo como que necesitamos a alguien, ¿no? Contrata a alguien, estás ocupado, no necesitamos a alguien. Entra Howard, pues obviamente él y su equipo, tú sabes, tío, logran salvar la película. Entonces, imagínate, casi no, o sea, no se hubiera podido hacer esto ahí sin eso. Y ya, él continúa, entonces así que continúa con lo de Deal y lo de Fright Night.
So, I love the original Fright Night. The Tom Holland Fright Night is one of my favorite films. I think it's a great vampire film. And I love the makeups in it. I think it's cool. So when I got called to do the remake, I was pretty excited. And the director was Craig Gillespie, who's really great. Really, he did a lot of great movies. I Am Tanya. He did just really a slew of films that I really, really love. He did Cruella, which I thought was excellent. And he just finished directing Supergirl. So that should be interesting. So they cast Colin Farrell, and this was going to be my first time working with Colin. And it was great. And he's so wonderful and so easy to get along with, and love doing all the makeup stuff and all the creature stuff. Because, you know, sometimes if you have an actor who doesn't really want to, you know, isn't really into it and it's kind of a hassle, you know, it's not as much fun. They're always professional, but Colin was really amazing. And still is. I stay in touch with Colin after that movie, and we've seen each other like once or twice or 3 times since then. And he's always so lovely and pleasant. But, you know, it was fun to come up with a new look or multiple looks for Jerry Dandridge, you know, in the big vampire looks. And for the most part, it's all makeup effects and all prosthetic makeup on Colin until the very end, where there's some digital alteration to make his mouth really, really big. But, you know, it was myself and Tammy Lane on the show, and we just did tons of makeups. And, you know, we both took care of Colin, and we had like, you know, Imogene Poots, who had like the big, giant shark mouth thing, you know, from the original film. And it was fun to come up with things that were familiar and reminiscent of the original movie, and then, you know, do our own spin on it. So, and then of course, you know, Colin brings it to life. So, which is important because, you know, I can bring X amount to the table. Like I can bring 50% of the character to the table, and then I rely on the actor to bring it to life. And Colin is one of those actors who brings everything to life because he's so incredible. I mean, if you've watched that TV show, The Penguin, it's incredible. And I mean, I forget it's Colin. And one, the makeup is like probably the best makeup I've ever seen in my life. And 2, Colin uses it to his advantage, and he really plays it up. He knows how to perform in the makeups. And that's half the battle sometimes. But I had a great time. I always have good times on shows. It's rare that I don't have fun, because that's very important to me. But, it was long. It was hard. You know, it was like, I want to say it was like 15 weeks, and most of it was shooting nights. And I hate shooting nights more than anything. But, you know, it's a vampire movie. So of course it's going to be at night. Makes sense. I should know that when I signed on to it.
And yes, Colin is one of my favorites. And both Vincenzo and Craig, amazing directors. Hay buena traducción. Esto dice que obviamente es fan del original, pues, todo, pero que él está emocionado porque se iba a trabajar, ¿sabes? ¿No? Creo que el director favorito es César, Craig Gillespie, el que la dirigió. Y tú sabes, pues Colin Farrell dice que lo más bello es que tú la viste, ¿cierto? Hay muchos homenajes al original, por ejemplo, los prostéticos en los dientes. O sea que digamos que fue muy chévere, digamos, como que tomar como que hacer esas reminiscencias. Que Colin Farrell es un amor que se hablan muy seguido y dice que, ¿sabe por qué lo dice? Porque él dice que a veces ha estado con actores que son complicados, dice que no. Y pues la prueba de que eres muy bueno con maquillaje, tú sabes, el pingüino. Y obviamente, ¿no? Que el Splice, directorazo, ¿no? Señor Jatenjor, ¿no? Un día lo tendremos acá, ¿no? Que yo, Q.
Claro que sí. Ahora sí, hay que preguntarle, Michael, este va a ser el próximo hitazo, la próxima película increíble. Bueno, en todo esto, lo que pueda contarnos, yo sé que no nos puede contar mucho, pero eres el principal de ello.
Whatever you want to tell us about the next project durante about Michael Jackson, the things that you can say, go ahead.
Yes. The Michael Jackson thing that I worked on.
Yes.
Called got it. Yeah, that was a long time ago. So I got hired to do. Michael Jackson was going to do this live stage show, and he was going to recreate Thriller in it. And so we were hired to do a bunch of zombies, on actors and dancers and so forth for this big sequence. And what was cool is it shot for 2 nights, and I did all these cool makeups, and I had a big crew. And one night, Michael Jackson showed up, and I was like blown away. And it was kind of crazy because, people, I always heard people say like, oh, he's unlike anybody else. Like he has this vibe or this aura about him. And when he walked in and I got to meet him, it was almost like a religious experience. It really was. And there was something about him, and he was so kind, and he went and he thanked everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being here. And so he stayed, and we were shooting stuff, and he kept coming over, and he's like, oh, can I see that monster? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And we talked a little bit, and I obviously he knew Rick Baker. So I said, oh, I'm very good friends with Rick Baker. I started off my career working with Rick, and he was very interested in that. And so anyhow, we shot it. And then horribly enough, 2 weeks later, Michael Jackson died, which was unbelievable. And I never, ever thought that would happen. And the footage we shot was shelved, and we thought we're never going to see it ever again. That's it. No one's ever going to see all this work that everybody did. On top of the fact that one of the world's greatest musicians has passed away. So whatever it was, like a year later, or I can't remember how long it was, but the studio decided to make a movie out of it. And it was kind of like a tribute film and a documentary about the making of what that musical was going to be. And or that musical tour was going to be. And they had all the Thriller stuff we did in it, which was really fantastic. And I was really happy to see it. It was fun. I mean, like I said, it was only a 2-day thing. We were only on set for 2 days to shoot all the Thriller stuff, but I tried to duplicate the best I could to make it seem like in the Rick Baker universe, so it wasn't too one way or the other. So I think at one point I did one makeup, and the director, Kenny Ortega, came in. He's like, ooh, that's too much. So I had to take it down because I was trying to be faithful to what Thriller was, but I think he was thinking like maybe it's a little too much. So I ended up changing it all for Kenny, and that was all cool. But it was a great experience. I mean, I've been very lucky in my career getting to work on some really interesting projects with really amazing people. And it's been 41 years. I've been doing this for 41 years. I'm going to try to do it for another 5. And then I'm going to not do it anymore and retire. So I'm looking forward to that because it's a lot. It's a lot. And it's busy, and, the industry is very different now, and it's changed a lot, So yeah. And I think I've done everything I want to do. So I feel pretty content with my career.
De pronto está conectado a algo, porque tú sabes muy bien que él aparece también. Yo sé que tú hablas de la pero él aparece en los créditos de Easy, ¿no? ¿Te acuerdas de Easy? Contó una historia muy bella, por cierto, una historia muy bella para ese canal. Él había sido contratado, tú te dices el documental, ¿te acuerdas de los zombies de Thriller, del concierto? Él fue contratado para hacer esos zombies. De hecho, obviamente, tú sabes, lo hizo Rick Baker, él quiso hacerle un homenaje, De hecho, Kenny Ortega le dijo, porque él hizo unos zombies más aterradores, Kenny Ortega dijo, no, muy aterradores. ¿Qué ahora fue el problema? ¿No? Aparte, obviamente, de ver, y que él conoció a Michael en esa época, imagínate, que pues tú sabes que después fue lo del fallecimiento, y ese material se iba a perder, se recuperó, de pronto, tal vez ese material que se vaya a usar ahorita para lo de Juan, porque tú sabes que es autobiográfica, pero él dijo una frase muy bella, lleva 41 años haciendo esto, dice que lo va a hacer por 5 años más, porque quiere descansar y la industria ha cambiado, pero pues acá nos da esta respuesta muy hermosa.
Güey. Espera, 5 años más, no, no lo puedo creer. O sea, si vas a terminar, que sea nosotros la última entrevista.
Okay, Johnny says that because I say that about the 5 next years, say that you're going to give the last, hopefully not the last, but we be the lucky one to be the people that make you the last interview. Hopefully, no, I want you to play more interviews. So
yeah, we'll do that for sure. Yeah, not a worry. I mean, I've got more time. I'm just, for me, it's about, like I said, I've been, by the time I decide to retire, it'll be 46 years that I've been doing this. And that's a very long time. And, I'd like to know what it's like to not have to go to set. So that should be nice. And, but yes, we can make my last interview, with you. That would be great.
I don't need to translate, yo no necesito traducir. Él dice que lo que pasa es que de pronto quiere descansar de eso y saber que tira un set. Dice que la meta es tener 46 años de carrera y dice que sí, que podemos ser los últimos. No, odio la palabra últimos, pero eso. I was asking John because you know the joke, no? The translators are jokers. The translation for 7 pounds in Latin America, 7 almas, 7 souls. No, not souls. No? So anything you want to say about working on 7 pounds and Planet Terror? Well,
okay, well, those are 2 very different movies. Well, I mean, for 7 pounds, we really didn't do that much. Actually, we did very little. We built in Will Smith's apartment, his set. There are these jellyfish, and those jellyfish aren't real jellyfish; they're mechanical jellyfish. So we built those. We built these puppet jellyfish, and it was because we knew the prop master on the show, and she asked if we could do it. And so it was really not much, but for Planet Terror, that's a lot of stuff. And obviously that's Robert Rodriguez. And we first worked with Robert on From Dusk Till Dawn. And then Robert has hired us ever since. Like, we do all Robert's movies. We do all Quentin Tarantino's movies. They're both very, very loyal to us, which is really nice. And, Planet Terror has a lot of stuff in it. And Greg Nicotero, he really kind of ran those shows. Those were like his shows. So when we do movies at K&B, sometimes, and it's rare that Greg and I will be working together, because we do so much. So he'll go and he'll do this movie. I'll go do this movie, or, however it works. So on Planet Terror and also on, Death Proof, Greg was in charge of those movies. So we built everything at the studio at K&B. But Greg went to set and did all that. But we had all those for Planet Terror. We had all those kind of like weird mutiny makeups and gooey that pumped pus and blood and squished stuff out. And, it was cool. I mean, it gave the guys at the shop a great opportunity to kind of like make a bunch of creature stuff that looked like it was from the 70s and 80s, which is, what Robert and Quentin wanted to do. But yeah, it was chock full of stuff and nonstop. And Robert shoots really fast. So like, you have to be ready at all times. It's not like if your call is at 7 a.m. in the morning, he's ready to shoot at 7 a.m. Because sometimes you'll go to set and, there's times and they're setting up and there's like an hour or so, but not Robert Rodriguez. If it's 7 o'clock, we're shooting. There's a camera up on his shoulder and he's filming. And, it's crazy fast, but, Greg loves that pace. I'm glad he does, cause I don't. So it works out very well. But and then you have Quentin, who's a different director, than Robert is, and it's really collaborative and fun, but hard. It's always hard work every day. After a day shoot with Quentin, I'm exhausted, and I feel like I work so hard. Everything's drained out of me, but I feel like I really accomplished something every single day, and it feels good. And I know it's going to be great because Quentin only wants things that are great. So, and if it isn't great, he'll tell you. So, you'll know right away if something is not to his liking.
Para 7 pounds, ¿te acuerdas las aguamalas? Bueno, no las aguamalas, las medusas son hechas, fueron construidas. Solo hicieron ese efecto, que obviamente es un efecto complicadísimo, que pues ya lo tenía bien claro la directora de arte y todo, pero para Planet Terror, bueno, no solo Planet Terror, tú sabes muy bien que el equipo, ANB, ha trabajado siempre con Robert y con Quentin. De hecho, tú sabes muy bien que desde el crepúsculo al amanecer, bueno, eso más que todo lo hizo Greg, el cotero, pero él sí se encargó de Planet Terror. Dice que Robert es muy loco porque a las 7 de la mañana graba, a las 7 de la mañana está grabando. Y que con Quentin, él cada vez que trabaja con Quentin termina agotadísimo, pero él sabe muy bien que es el trabajo perfecto porque si una toma queda mal, Quentin lo hace saber. Entonces eso es lo de trabajar con ellos. Que él dice que entiende que Greg de Control le gusta trabajar así corriendo, dice que él no sería capaz, pero bueno, cada quien tiene su personalidad, no te la digo.
Eso es increíble, ¿no? Es cine. Pero claro que yo es que me parece impresionante todo lo que hace Howard sobre, o sea que todo el tiempo en uno tras otro proyecto, y eso es lo que me parece pues increíble. En Quora estaban comentando, justamente le quería pues hacer la pregunta de los fans acerca de alguna anécdota, no solo de Sin City, pero yo le quiero preguntar acerca sobre, hay algo interesante y es el tema de Horsemen, que yo digo, nunca le han preguntado sobre esa, y que me parece curioso, que es un filme distinto a lo que él ha hecho.
This question is from the friends on Quora. Yes, of course, they are asking about the other masterpiece from Robert Rodriguez that is Sin City, but also they say that the fans, the fans are crazy. They watch the interviews and they say that they never ask about Horsemen. So anything you want to say about Horsemen, go ahead.
Oh God, I don't even remember that movie. I truly don't. I don't remember anything about that movie. So I have nothing to say because I don't remember it. I think there was almost nothing about it. So I don't know. Sorry.
So may happy the fans from CTV, man. I know you remember.
I don't even know what we did for that. No idea. for Horsemen. But what was the other movie you just said?
Sin City, the classic.
Yeah, that was huge. And again, that was all Greg. But for Sin City, yeah, I mean, that was gigantic. And we were so busy then because I was doing Chronicles of Narnia, and Greg he was in Texas with Robert Rodriguez doing Sin City. And the first thing we had to do was the makeup on Mickey Rourke, which was the Marv makeup. And, doing a makeup on Mickey is very difficult. He's a moving target. He's always moving around. And, even when he came in, I did his head cast for the makeup, and he was just all over the place. And I ended up having to put my elbows on his shoulders to hold him down and hold his head still because he was moving all over the place, and very, very bouncy, hyperactive human being. And then, it took a while to get, even though the makeup's already designed by Frank Miller in the comics, it took a while to just get the right look. And, we kept sending photos to Frank Miller, and he would say, no, the nose needs to be more like this. Like Frank has, or Marv has a very specific nose, and a profile, and the way the hair is. It looked great. I mean, it worked out really well. And then, of course, we also had Yellow Bastard, which was super cool. And that was Nick Stahl who played that. And the interesting thing about that is it's because the way Robert was doing the photography in digital, actually Yellow Bastard was painted blue. So he was blue on set. And then that way they were able to key off of that blue and make it like that really kind of vomit yellow. like bile. And, so it was a cool makeup. It was a full upper torso suit on Nick and makeup and all that stuff. And Greg and Chris Nelson and Scott Patton were really instrumental. And I think Jake Garber too was instrumental in doing all those makeups. And yeah, it was great. I think it's a really neat movie, and I think the makeups in it are exceptional. And I was disappointed that, like, I felt like when that movie came out, people looked at the work we did and they just thought it was all digitally enhanced, and it wasn't. It's practical makeup it was changed. Not the makeups were changed, but the way Robert was shooting the film, which we always knew was going to happen, has that comic book feel, So I feel like Greg ended up not getting the recognition he should have for the excellent work that he did on Sin City, because I think it's some of the best stuff that we've done. I love the Marv makeup. I think the Marv makeup is pretty outstanding.
If it wasn't the way that you made it, if it wasn't only digital, that movie will look like shit. So we know that looked amazing for the amazing work from Greta. But it's crazy, no? Because I know the word doesn't define anything, but it's great that you don't went empty-handed with the Chronicles of Darkness. Congratulations, always. Yeah. But yeah. Wow, now I even love more Sin City, man. Soda Head of Time I will always say it, and I will say it. Pues John, sobre Horseman no se acuerda nada, dice que no disculpe. Y sobre Sin City, tú sabes muy bien que, bueno, gran parte del trabajo lo hizo Greg, pero obviamente Howard fue el encargado en parte del viaje de Mickey Rourke, y que fue complicadísimo porque Mickey Rourke no se queda quieto, entonces le tocó ponerle los hombros encima, no sé cómo lo terminaron peleando, para poner el maquillaje, pero que todo salió bien. Y también hicieron el maquillaje de Ned Stoll, tú sabes, el hombre amarillo. Hay algo triste, ¿no? Dice que se siente un poco mal de que no le hayan reconocido pues, el Oscar a Greg Nicotero, porque mucha gente pensó que el maquillaje era digital. Yo le dije que no, que si hubiera sido digital, se hubiera visto horrible, no se hubiera visto también la película. Exacto. Pero pues que sea como sea, obviamente, es que fue al mismo tiempo, él no se pudo involucrar en todo, porque esas son las crónicas de Narnia, obviamente, ganadora del Oscar a maquillaje, pero dice que sí, que eso fue una locura lo de Sin City, que fue uno de los mejores trabajos que ha hecho.
Hay que felicitarlo por eso. Uno define ahorita su trabajo en una palabra y bueno, la foto.
And that question needs to be repeated. How do you define your career, your work in one word? You can say about
okay. Well, my career in one word. Let me think for 1 second. What would I say my career in? Grateful. Yeah, I'm very, very grateful to be able to do this because I dreamed of it as a child, and I worked hard as a kid and made my connections and just worked and worked and worked. And now I get to do this for the past 41 years. I feel very lucky. But it was a lot of work. It wasn't, I mean, when I say I'm lucky, it's not like it just was luck that fell into it. It was a tremendous amount of work. It still continues to be a tremendous amount of work, but I wake up every morning being very grateful, and I'm always excited to go to work. And I always look forward to seeing, what the day will bring and what's ahead. So, every day is different, and it's really fun. And I always think like, when I'm like now, I think like, wow, a year ago I did this, this, and this. I never would have thought, that a year ago I'd be doing this today. You never know. So it's always a great adventure. But yeah, no, I'm very grateful for all of it. And the fact that you guys are interested in this and you want to hear about things, that means a lot. And that there's so many people around the world that love movies and love, what we do. And, it's important, I think it's a great art form. Movie making is one of the best forms of entertainment and art. And, we just got to keep it going. So do make more and more cool movies for you guys.
And I love the translation of that word is agradecido. We are agradecidos. I will translate before the final picture. John está agradecido. Que él cuando dice que es afortunado no significa, o sea, porque él dice que tiene mucho trabajo. Él dice que nunca se imagina que, por ejemplo, cuando hizo la entrevista, la última, él no se imaginó que imagínate, y todo eso. Y que él dice que muchas personas hay que agradecer, como nosotros estamos interesados para él es para estar agradecido.
Howard, muchas gracias por la oportunidad,
Thank
Master.
you.
Y God bless you. Take care. Stay tuned.
Thank you. It was
Thank
great.
you so much.
And I'll talk to you guys soon.
Yes.
Take care. Gracias. Gracias.
Con gusto. Bye bye.
Bye bye.